where you prove to me that you don't want to follow anybody's rules. You obviously don't want to follow probations, and you don't want to follow the correctional officers. You are calling names. I can't even say the words. You're gonna slap the F out of the... All right, are you Zakarian Wagner?
No.
And Mr. Wagner, in cause number 24, DCCR 0912, is on probation for tampering or fabricating physical evidence with intent to impair, was placed on probation for a term of 10 years, ordered to go to ISF, and then there was a motion to revoke community supervision filed. We were here previously. Pleas of true were entered in counts 1 through 7.
Actually, Judge,
Is that not correct?
That's not what my notes reflect, I believe.
Let me pull up my actual.
Yes, he pled not true to 1 and 2.
And 6 was abandoned.
6 was abandoned, and true to the remaining counts.
Does the state have evidence with regard to those new offenses?
No, Judge.
Okay. Hold on, let me pull it up. Okay, so the pleas of true, the updated report is not correct. The pleas of true were to counts 3, 4, 5, and 7.
That's what my notes
That's
reflect.
correct, Your Honor.
Counts 1 and 2 related to
Indiana.
Indiana cases, and so the state is unable to have evidence with regard to those. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So the counts 3 was avoid association with anyone previously convicted of a crime. Count 4 was not to leave the state of Texas without prior approval. Count 5 failed to report by mail as directed, and count 7 was fees and being behind in fees, correct?
Yes, Judge.
I have received the updated report, and also I have received jail incident reports. Has everyone had an opportunity to review all of those?
We have.
The state has, Judge.
Are there any additions or corrections to that updated report other than the pleas of true that I just corrected?
No, Your Honor.
Not from the state.
Okay, Mr. Rojas, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Regarding the incident in Indiana, because he did plead true to leaving the county and being in Indiana, he tells me he had previously lived in Indiana. When he moved down to Texas, he left some things in his apartment in Indiana, clothing, furniture, things like that. He had a roommate here in Texas who was moving to Indiana, and at that point he had an opportunity to go back in Indiana with a truck and bring his things back. He should have asked for permission, Judge. He didn't get permission. He just thought he could make a quick trip to Indiana, get his things, and come back. And that at that point, when he was arrested with another person, he told me the charges against him were never filed. The other person that he was with in Indiana is the one that was charged with those crimes. He's asking to be continued on to probation. And I'll talk about the reporting. He pled true to not reporting to Jefferson County by mail. He tells me he was reporting in person in Orange. He never failed to report in person in Orange. He reported all the times he was supposed to, and I don't see an allegation about that. So I tend to believe that's probably true. He didn't know he had to report to Jefferson County by mail. That's the reason he didn't do. He tells me that's why he didn't do that. Before he was arrested on the motion, he was working construction, doing guardrails on the highway with the Highways Department. Obviously, he lost that job. He says his mother has a friend who has a wood shop. He can get a job doing that if he were allowed to continue probation. He will be living with his mother in Orange, and so he's asking to be continued on probation. He's still a young man, Judge. He's 20 years old. Obviously, he's certainly old enough to know better than to go out and do these things, especially being on probation. But I think he's still young enough to not really, understand fully the consequences of what's going to happen to him if he doesn't. I think this has been a wake-up call. He's been in jail since September, I believe. Again, we're asking you to keep him on probation, let this time in jail serve as sanctions, and I don't know what other classes we can give him. He's already been to ISF, but obviously whatever conditions the court thinks is appropriate, he would follow.
So the person that you were with, that you got in trouble with up in Indiana, has a motion to revoke his probation here in Jefferson County too, correct? Mr. Dyer, Jacathan Dyer?
Do you know about that?
I think that's what he went in for.
What?
I said I think that's what he went in for as well.
Real quick too, so the allegation of failing to report by mail or online was for May, June, and July. But he had been on probation for several months prior to that. So had he reported online or by mail prior to those dates?
He had been in custody waiting to go to ISF, but he had a pending charge in Harris County. So he had to be transported to Harris County, take care of that, and wait for ISF, then go to ISF.
Okay. And what was that, Harris? I don't remember that.
Unlawful carrying of a weapon.
And what was the outcome of that case?
They dismissed it because of us sending him to ISF.
Your Honor, just briefly, Judge, the tampering with evidence offense as the defendant pled to is a little misleading in that what he tampered with was a firearm, Judge. When law enforcement encountered this defendant, he had one weapon that they initially discovered, if I recall correctly, and then when they put him in the back of a patrol unit, the patrol car video captures him essentially while handcuffed, dumping another weapon. That weapon was outfitted with what was tantamount to a Glock switch. And I say tantamount to a Glock switch because when ATF tested it, it did not meet all of the requirements to be technically a Glock switch. So he dodged a bullet on, well, no pun intended, dodged a bullet on federal charges, Judge, because we were looking at potential federal charges for the Glock switch. So there's two firearms that he was in possession of. Then he's got the unlawful carrying of a weapon in Houston, albeit eventually dismissed. I'd ask the court to take that into consideration. This defendant has an affinity for firearms, and not only firearms, a Glock switch, Judge, you know the damage these Glock switches could do if that was a fully functional Glock switch, Judge. I'd ask that this court revoke this defendant's probation and send him to prison, Judge. And of course, that amount of prison is at the court's discretion. I do understand that he's a youthful offender, but Judge, you know, these youthful offenders with these guns and Glock switches, they're wreaking havoc in our community. And at a certain point, we need to send a message. I'd ask the court to send that message today, Judge. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. And Ms. Martinez, thank you for being here. Do you have anything to add that's not already in your updated report?
No, ma'am. It is hard to supervise someone who almost immediately leaves the state without reporting it or requesting permission. We wouldn't have known he was up there if they hadn't called us to tell us that they were in custody of their jail.
I mean, Mr. Wagner, the problem here is that I did with you what I do with a lot of youthful offenders, is we give you that opportunity on probation. I send you to ISF up front so that you have the tools to make better decisions so you can be successful in your probation. So I don't have any other tools because I already did that. And your history, so it's not like you just started getting in trouble once you turned 18 or 19. You've been to TJJD. So you were a youthful offender, so much so that they didn't just put you on probation as a juvenile, you ended up going to TJJD. And it takes a lot, in my opinion, it seems like sometimes, for these minors to be sent there. So you must have really frustrated and done something to end up in juvenile prison. Then you get out and you're doing the same thing, and I don't. So you went to ISF. So April 7th of 25, you get dropped off when you were discharged from the ISF to probation. Placed on a mail-in caseload, courtesy supervision was accepted by Orange on May 21st. 2 months later, you're in Indiana in jail in Indiana with someone who's also in trouble in Jefferson County that probably wasn't supposed to be or didn't have permission to be in Indiana either, I'm guessing. In addition, we have jail incident reports where you prove to me that you don't want to follow anybody's rules. You obviously don't want to follow probations, and you don't want to follow the correctional officers. You are calling names. I can't even say the words. You're gonna slap the F out of the correctional officer. That's great. You're going to everything is just you telling them, I'm going to do this my way. I'm going to shower when I want to shower. I'm going to wear my clothes how I want to wear my clothes. I'm going to tell you to hush when you're talking to me. I'm going to call you names. Here's one even worse. I'm not going to say these words. Yeah. All right. I'm going to find that you entered your pleas of true to counts 3, 4, 5, and 7 freely and voluntarily. This frustrates me so much, Mr. Wagner, because you've given me no chance when I gave you every chance. I have no choice at this point, in my opinion, because you refuse to follow anybody's directions, and that means our community is not safe if you're in it. I'm going to find those counts true, find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and at this time find you guilty of tampering or fabricating physical evidence. Sentence you to a term of 6 years in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Corrections. You do receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. You're going to be handed a trial court certification that shows this was not a plea agreement. You can talk to your attorney about any possible rights to appeal. I need y'all to sign that, and then you'll get your copy. Also, I'm handing you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility. Go ahead and then I'll read this. I've also handed you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession of a firearm or ammunition could lead to charges against you. Firearm is a legal term, and you should read the written admonishment I provide you to see what devices qualify as a firearm. If you have questions about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or about how long that lasts, you can talk with Mr. Rojas. You are still young. You can make the best of the time that you've got and get out and do better, or you can get out and do worse and be right back in here. So I hope you take advantage of doing better with your